Hey guys, it's Kyle from the dojo, and just wanted to show you another concept that I've kind of picked up on from the dojo lessons, and something that I had mentioned in one of the posts that I had done, but probably didn't explain very well. The thing that I was talking about was moving laterally across the fretboard. And I figured, well, I don't know that I explained that very well, so I figured it was probably easier to show. But it was basically blending a few of the lessons from the dojo together. And the example that I wanted to show, there are actually two examples. The first one I'm going to do in this video is it starts out as a lateral move and then goes into kind of a Middle Eastern dropout. So everything that I'm going to do in this particular lesson is in D, and the thing to the thing to visualize in this type of a lick is just moving across the fretboard and really not moving your fingers a whole lot, or not switching the positions up a whole lot. And what I mean by that is, you know, when you play in D, first thing you want to do in like lateral moves so that you stay in the right key, or not that you stay in the right key, but that you land on the proper notes, would be to know exactly where the roots are. And the roots in D are here, basically on the A string, 5th fret, G string, 7th fret, and then E string, 10th fret. So those are kind of the landing points that are going to keep. There are other notes there, but for this particular example, we're going to just land on D, just to make it sound a little bit more in tune, basically. And the notes that I use on licks like this, in D in particular, would be like, say, on the 7th fret, starting here, 7th fret, 8th fret, and 10th fret. So you're just using that exact same pattern. Now there are notes there that fit better than others, but when you're doing it a little quicker, they tend to be passing tones. So you just kind of go right through them, and since you're not holding on to them, they still sound okay. They sound like they're supposed to be there. But you don't necessarily want to land on them. The ones that you want to land on are going to be, you know, the ones that are in that particular scale, whichever one that you're actually playing. The lick that I always like to do, I think it sounds kind of neat, is using those same notes, but sort of mixing the pattern up a little bit. It kind of involves two things. One would be the linear pattern, which are those exact same notes that I just showed you. The other thing would be a string skipping, where you're going to jump over a string and then come back to another one, and then using the octave just to kind of end it. So what I mean by that, and here's the lick, that's actually the lick. I mean, you could play it 100 miles an hour if you want to. I mean, you can play it at any tempo, but again, the key is in D for this one, and that's why I'm landing on the 10th fret on the E string. But the way it starts is on the D string, you're going to be on the 7th, 8th, and 10th, and then I'm going to jump over the G string and go straight to the B. So I'm going to go, and that's what I'm doing. I'm literally jumping over. Then I'm going to roll back down, but come back down on the G string. So it's down on B, and that is the passing tone. So you don't want to land there because that's going to sound a little bit sour. I guess, you know, it depends on what you're playing, but on this example that really wouldn't sound right. So you want to kind of float by that, and then the next one is where you land is on the D, and you hit the octave. And I always use an upstroke on the octave. That way I can keep playing the first one so they blend together. So here it is again, kind of slow. So that's the lick. And it works in those Phrygian kind of movements. Now the thing that I like to do to extend that particular pattern takes it from that linear pattern using the exact same fingering. So the fingering to keep in mind is the root, half step, and whole step, but just sliding it up and coming down. I don't know that it's an exact scale, but it does kind of sound cool. So for the sake of this explanation, I'm going to call it a Phrygian-based scale. And what we're going to do is that lick, slide 3 frets up to the 13th fret, and then come down with that exact same pattern. And that kind of gives it, again, that Phrygian / Middle Eastern kind of effect. And again, all it is, slide to the 13th. And now let me explain how I come down, because I don't really come down as stair-stepped as that was. What I like to do is come down on the E and the B string the same way. But to keep that pattern the same, I'll slide from the 10th fret to the 11th on the B string, so I can keep that pattern coming down on the G string on the 14th, 12th, and 11th. And then you slide again to keep the pattern the same. And that, I know, was a lesson somewhere in the dojo, just keeping the pattern the same. And again, that's what you're doing. You're just keeping everything as simple as possible, keeping the fingering the same. The only other thing that you could really change there is if you wanted to give it more of a like a gypsy minor kind of scale. Instead of doing this pattern, you just extend that third note a half step. I would do that sparingly, because that's not going to work all the way up the neck. You're going to have a lot of notes that just don't match up. Some of them even start repeating each other. But again, you're in that type of a jam situation, and again, starting on the 7th fret on the D string, and that's it. Thanks.